And you are listening to Huon and Kingston FM, and you're listening to Your Point of View this morning with Andy. And in the studio is Neville Boulton, the stalwart of Dover. He's a community member, and he's going to share with us. It's been a good 12 months, I think, since Nev has been in the studio. And good morning, Nev.
Morning, Andy. Morning, visitors. Listeners.
Yeah, that's it.
I hope you're all well.
Yeah.
And anyway, before we go, Andy, thank you for having us on. Community radio should be the place where we're allowed to do this, where people who've had a gripe with the council or a gripe with someone should come and express their views, and not just be a one-sided station that only panders to the council. It should be, and your program's the one that does it, and I've got to congratulate it on it, and I hope it keeps going. It'll probably nearly be the most listened to program, won't it?
Thank you, Nev. Thanks so much. Yes, and I've always had the policy, the door is always open and people are welcome, whether it's politicians to local gardeners or whatever, builders, tradespeople or whatever, and I appreciate you coming in here because you have been going what's more than a nightmare over time through the stress and trauma for yourself and Lisa, through your bus company down there, through council. It's ongoing, so I'd just like to hear the update, where you're at this...
Well, the buses are allowed to park there. They always have been. They've never been illegal. They've never been outside any of the planning schemes. The 93 is now not a planning scheme. They've never been outside that. There's even a little thing in the planning scheme that allows for buses and community-based services, which ours is. So that's out, but the unit's still going. The unit hasn't... We've passed the completion certificate, but apparently we've got to get it inspected again, and we won't do that.
As council, they haven't been transparent over the whole matter. Has it been a two-way street with the communications there with them?
No, council's never met us, actually. I've never met a general manager. Never. I've only met one council person, actually. And that was a Luke Chi. And that was years ago. Not one. And through lawyers and everything, we've asked for meetings. But nothing's done. But...
Yeah, you're right, Nev.
We got actually the government got an investigator to come and see us to sort our plumbing out. And Brian Crew's done the right thing. He done everything for us, and this Regulus was talking to Matthew.
Regulation officer, the
Regulus.
local plumber. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Regulus Foganini's an investigator for the government. He investigates different things, and the government got him to investigate our situation with our unit. And when Brian Crew's done everything and talked to Regulus rang Matthew Grimsley and sort of said, righto, everything's done. And Matthew said, no, we still haven't got the truss design. And Regulus goes, well, that's funny because I've got a copy of it sitting in front of me. And it's dated 2007, the same date as all the other floor plans and wall plans and sewerage plans was all done and passed. So what's going on? And Matthew Grimsley, where did you get that? And Regulus, I've got it. Anyway, he goes, hang on a minute. And Regulus said he was away for a minute or two. Come back. He said, oh, we've found it. It was in cross files. What's that, the file of the people he's cross with? Must be a bloody big file, I reckon. So... we've got to get it inspected. We won't get it inspected. It was passed in 2008 and everything's done. This has just been a hatchet job, a bullying job, we could call it, but we'll come to the bullying a bit later. So what we're going to do now is Lisa and I have decided that 6 years since we wanted to go, we're too old. What we wanted to do is past us. Our bodies won't do what we wanted to do when we wanted to move. So we're going to stay. We're going to stay put. Won't be selling the house. If we do, we'll be still in the area. I know there's a lot of people who are shocked now and abusing us and everything. Well, if you're doing that, next time you see the mayor or Matthew Grimsley or any of those other councillors, tell them it's your fault they're staying because they stopped us from leaving, so it's their fault. And we've also had a bit of a chat. And you know what? I might even think when the elections come up for the council to go on for the council election.
Good on you. Good, Nev.
I'm sick and tired of these mongrels because they're the ones causing all the problems. And I'm sick and tired of watching councillors at these council meetings sit there like stunned mullets. Say something. Get into them. They're not right. How can we have all this bloody planning stuff that's discretionary? What the hell's discretionary mean? And under whose discretion is it coming from?
So too much behind closed doors.
Far too much. And they're not out there holding them to account. Our doctors, the Palais Theatre, the pool. It just goes on and on and on and on. So we'll stay and see how I feel when the next elections come up. We'll go up. I'm talking to some people at the moment, so we'll see what happens.
Good on you, Nev. And Matt Grimsey, what's his title on council?
Shit stirrer, hider. I don't know what his title is.
I think he's legal governance.
Yeah,
is
that what it is?
Or some damn thing in it, because there's two solicitors apparently on council, to my understanding, but it all saw the goalposts seem to change all the time, like with the GMs over time, had different GMs. The one recently, Jason Brown, that's was all cover up there, wasn't it? Wasn't anything disclosed about the payout he'd been given, which really, as community members, whether you rent here or pay rates or whatever, you pay your utilities. It's the community's money, isn't it, that goes into the kitty at the council. But there's been a lot of not happy community members not knowing what the payout, the figure was. So there needs to be more transparency, Nev, and up front, and councillors need to get out to the coalface and speak to people like yourself. Make an effort, get out there. Like politicians, you have had a politician down there, you dealt with a few, haven't you? But to no avail, it's sort of a closed door, would you say, overall?
I've had a talk to Nick Street, sat at our kitchen table. We've had meetings with Nick Street. One meeting I'll get on to a bit later. We've had Dean Winter at our place. And Dean Winter was quite funny, actually. He turned up after the election in between that and in becoming Labor leader. We showed him everything. We showed him, sold him, put your council hat on. We showed him the complaint when it was lodged and the times and everything else, and we said, how can you allocate staff to a complaint before the complaint is phoned in? And he said, you can't. I said, well then hang on, what's going on here then? We showed him all that. We showed him the bit about him ringing our real estate agent, and he said, they can't do that. They never rang you. I said, no. He said, the first call is to you. You're the person they've got to ring. Never rang us. So we gave him all that, and he was disgusted with it, and he said, yeah, I'll do this and I'll do that. Never heard from him. Give him a complete file. Never heard from him. Heard from his office last Wednesday. They said, Dean will ring you Thursday, which was the 4th. Still haven't contacted him. I wonder what year they're talking about.
Exactly. The lip service was there, but the follow-up wasn't.
They're all talking about this bullying and that. Well, hang on, that's the lead to it. They've got to be open. They've got to be transparent. I've got text messages and an email from 2 current councillors that state the GM and the mayor stopped them from talking to us. We've been talking to an ex-councillor from the last councillor who said the same thing. As soon as your name was brought up, everything was stopped. Everything. Now, that's a good sign that they've stuffed up and they won't admit it. Now, our problem started under 2016 when the Board of Inquiry was on. In 2018, that's when they come at us. We've got a Facebook post from Matthew Grimsley in 2018 which states that he was not fit to be in the job. He was making decisions he should not have made. Nick Street's got that. Dean Winter's got that. Every politician we've seen has got that. Matthew Healy had it. The head of Legat, which is mysteriously, he's gone. They've all got it. And yet no one will do anything. But yet they all come out about bullying, people have got to stop abusing us. Hey, hang on. People don't wake up in the morning and say, when I'm driving to work, I'll see those road workers and I'll stop and call them all the wankers and bastards and mongrels under the sun. Or they're walking past the council offices and say, I know what I'll do, I've got 5 minutes, I'll go in and abuse them. They don't do that. They abuse people because they're at their wits' ends. They've run out of options. The council won't talk to them, managers won't talk to them, councillors won't talk to them, so the only option they've got is to get angry. And it shouldn't be. So this all starts, and the whole lot goes from there. So we're not in, we're, the buses can stay there. The unit, well, whoopie-doo, there's a bloody illegal subdivision over the road from us with no roads and no nothing.
These are all public servants. They should be reminded they are public servants. They were voted in by the community. They were elected through the community.
Well,
and I say Dean Winter, he ought to be. It's disgraceful. You know what I mean? He's turned around. He's the leader now. Well, he might think he's 10 foot tall and bulletproof. You're too small. The little people discard by the sound of it. It's a follow-up. He needs to get back to you. Even if one day I'll invite him in here with you to sit in here openly and transparent and speak as a group here. So I'm quite happy to do that if you wish to, Nev, with Dean Winter.
Well, I don't know, Andy, why we don't, or you don't have the mayor and the general manager and that come in here to speak to people. Actually, the best idea would be have the general manager, the mayor, Matthew Grimsley, and Michael Bartlett, the head of planning, who is doing all the stuff up. He was the one that stuffed our bus up. Michael, get them at the front desk. I'll say an afternoon sometime and say, if you've got a problem, come in and see us.
Yeah, look, Nev, I've tried with the mayor, as is Sally Doyle. Each time I've organised to come in, either Sally's got another engagement, not disputing that, or she's not well. She has been in with another presenter on a Friday, but I seem to be avoided, as I said to Jackie Lambie. But as Jackie Lambie, if the mayor can't handle it, move on from that position. And that is on a podcast from Jackie Lambie. And she actually said to get up and backside and just get out there. And for the medical centres, she brought up about the medical centres. I seem to be the same as you in a situation. Don't go near, we'll go elsewhere. Which is a shame, because questions I ask, they might be hard, they might not be. But it wouldn't matter. I like to be open and honest and speak language of the heart. But unfortunately, Neville, I'm in a situation, similarities with yourself and Lisa. But I appreciate you coming in and speaking openly about what's been going on. So that's the situation.
Is that the reason you're in the position you're in, is because you have people like me in and you do speak your mind, in which it should. That's what it's got to be. It's
have an opinion.
It's got to be neutral.
Comment.
We've got to have both sides on this radio.
We have.
Just to stop it, well, it means, what are we? Russia? Are we Putin?
Yeah, that's right.
Are we propaganda and to say, if you say anything, we're going to lock you up?
That's, Rocket Man? It's a sad state in the year 2024 if we can't all get together. We have our differences, we have our different political beliefs, that's fine, but I think we all should get in and work together and put our differences apart. And I've always said keep the personality out of it, make it the principle is the main importance. But I'm just going to keep plodding along here, Nev, on radio and in the community as long as I can. But at the present moment, there's a lot been going on, but I'm staying strong. As you know, you're aware of it.
But Andy, the trouble is, this all stems back a long, long time ago. This valley has always had a bit of a standover factor to it. It has. People can't deny that. The 2016, some of the things that was said and done to people was horrific. It caused some family grief and
breakdowns. People have had breakdowns
and all that.
People have moved on,
but
just sort of
this is all the responsibility of one Peter Goodwin. He was in charge when the inquiry come about, and then we had the person they put in charge. What did she do? She just sold the place off.
Commissioner Taylor.
But they haven't got the guts or the balls. And that's why they come out with this bloody no gender on a birth certificate, because these politicians and these bureaucrats haven't got the balls to be a man or the heart to be a woman. Simple as that. This state is in absolute disarray with a lot of things. You can't trust the Integrity Commission, because that's got more question marks after it than it has integrity. And plus there is political people involved on the board and the panel for the integrity. How can it be independent? And the only way we are going to solve this is a totally independent Crime and Corruption Commission. And when I say independent, I mean totally independent, that the people who run it are from the mainland, with no family, no relations, nothing to do with Tasmania, and come in with the mentality of, if you don't knock on our door, we will kick yours in. That's the only way it's going to be done. The only way. And it's the same as this council. The only way it will be fixed, the only way we'll get harmony in the valley and to stop the bullying is for the council, that general manager, to sack Grimsley, to sack Bartlett, Those people that were there in 2016, the managers, the ones who were... But did any of them go? No. And they're the fault now. And then you've got a council and a mayor covering that. Why is the mayor covering it? Is it because of the brother-in-law is involved in a lot of this stuff? I don't know. But it's questions that are being asked.
Would you, Nev, say that there should be intervention, I think the word from the state government, instead of just letting councils run how they did? Well, for instance, with Commissioner Taylor, she was in for one season, then she was in for a second term, a second term, through Peter Gutwin, okaying it to a second term. And as you say, we could look at, and I recall speaking to the Commissioner about the hub, the costing of the hub. And she said, oh, it's interest-free. And I said to her, interest-free? You've still got to pay it back. You know, but then I was sort of blacklisted then after a few asking questions, putting on the spot interviews with Mike Wilson at the time, and wouldn't sit in the studio with me. Went to this other presenter.
Yeah, because they don't want...
She didn't like my question.
They don't want to be asked the questions. And the trouble is, it's not bullying. No. It's called the truth.
The truth.
And basically that's what... And this bullying, you want to stop it, it's easy to stop. Open up and go into where it starts. It's starting at the council. That's where it starts. Like ours. Ours is all about hating us, bullying us. And how many people have left this valley because of bullying from the council? We've talked to several people, a lot of people actually. Lisa meets a lot of people up in Huonville, and they tell her about what's happened with their grandparents with this planning debacle. This doctor, there's people there with cancers and with illnesses that Angela was treating. Gone.
She didn't even, she wasn't made aware of it. Social media.
Angela wanted, the only reason Angela wanted to go in the first place was because of the management of the council. The council destroyed this bloody health system down here, not the state government, the council did. The council run it, they're the ones who stuffed it.
What have they got over there? 2 locums now. Well, Sally said, as it said, with Jackie's press message to me, I had the reading of it, oh, you'll get squeezed in. For goodness sakes. Where's the personalisation doctor on doctor? Squeezed in, of course. Write out the prescription, thank you.
Yeah, but they don't know the history. They don't know
the history, that's right, exactly. So this has all got to be either put out...
They're not coming up the Palais Theatre. There was no honesty there.
Well, is this correct? I was told that it's either going to be turned into a car park or something. They were going to demolish it, but I don't know.
Oh, mate, there's always dodgy things that you don't know.
You don't know. No.
We'll know when it's like the scoreboard at the football ground across the road. That got pulled down and buried under those bloody seats that are there.
I remember reading about that. That's right. All of a sudden, early hours of the morning, some contractor comes in and bulldozes.
So a bit of our history.
Fibro.
A bit of our history's
gone.
And why? Well, it wasn't doing any wrong. It was there. It was a part of our history. But gone. And the council, so they've got to put their hand up for this blame. This Genevieve Holden.
This is in the Mercury, isn't
it? Yeah, wrote this thing in the Mercury about the council plans to stop escalating staff abuse. Well, all right then, Sally Dorr, let's have a conversation about abuse. Let's have a conversation about bullying. What's your council staff and management done to us? What have they done to other people around?
If you're listening, Sally, you're welcome to come to the studio one day with Nev and Lisa, or just Nev.
No, just me. Lisa won't do it.
So the door's always, you're happy?
Oh, mate, I'm
in
happy.
The studio here, community radio.
I'm happy to sit
Sally
down
to sit there, you to sit there.
With anybody.
Yeah,
I'm happy to sit in and put my information, the information that I've got, in front of them and say, you answer this.
And Sally Doyle, the mayor of municipality or community, is the spokesperson. So that the door's open, Sally, please contact the station and myself. You have my number, and come in and we'll make an arrangement, because this needs to be sorted, it needs to be transparent. We'll do it in a civil manner in the studios of HuonFM.
Well,
and Nev, you're happy with all that, so that's good. So
and there's been lies told to the councillors about us, like Lisa got a Facebook post from Jenny Chambers stating about, this is about Krantz, the GM now.
Yes.
And I'll read it as it's written down.
So this is facts, you've got it in front of you? Yep.
You are still free to write to our new CEO and explain your case and what you want from council. He is the person who finally completed the assessment of your bus parking issue and agreed it was an existing use and therefore could continue. He done bugger all. His name's on one paper. And SC that we employed told this council that they were wrong. There's no such thing as a 93 planning scheme. And he said, how can the 89 planning scheme start in 93? It can't. Now, who told Jenny Chambers this? Who gave her this lie? Lisa got banned from the community page for asking the question. Who told you this lie? And now, how about we have a crack at... Lisa's also been told that if she calls Sally Doyle corrupt once more, that's hate speech. Well, hang on. I've got a news article in front of me here, written in June 2022, and I'll read this if I can.
Yes, please do.
Under Enders and Doyle, deliberate decisions, corrupted processes and lack of leadership have led to enormous wastage of ratepayers' money and the deficit budget we are all left to fix. Now, he's just called them corrupt. Paul Gibson did. Now, Paul Gibson left the council because he couldn't work with that GM.
Correct.
And what did he do? Went back on the council and was a part of the council that gave him a pay rise.
Well,
Hypocritical and turns his back on everything. It's the same bloke I had a bit of a chirp out front of here. He said, them bloody buses cart kids to school, mate. So come on, Paul. And also, too, on that same thing about the finances. $150,000 spent on leadership development for the GM. Now, he says, well, now, a skill you would expect a highly paid general manager to bring to council. So how much money are they going to spend on this GM to get him up to leadership qualities? Because he didn't have the experience as the last one. So...
Would you say it's an inside job, as some places do? Would you say that?
Oh, of course it's an inside job. Even as far as people are asking what was the criteria.
Because the other one was flawed with Jason Brown. It was inside through misinches.
Well, this one here is the same.
The relationship with
this one here is the same. It is, he met our criteria. A councillor said that. He met our criteria. Well, what was the criteria?
And what was it? What did they say?
Nothing.
What
was it, to cover up everything that's been done and just say, yes, sir, no, sir, 3 bags full, sir?
Lip service to deaf ears.
Yeah, basically. And as far as the bullying goes, Sally, come on, let's have a conversation about this. What is your planning scheme, planning department, Michael Bartlett and his cohorts, done here with the destruction of the planning? With the upsetting of people?
Upsetting the trauma.
We've had grandparents, we have people who are grandparents wanting to do something for their kids in this housing crisis time and cost...
That's right.
No, we'll stop that. I've talked to people that aren't allowed to cut timber on their place, aren't allowed to do things with their place. But yet the bloke down the road, he can. We've had people ring us and talk to us in tears about they owned a business, a truck business, they were carting dirt and that. They got told they couldn't park their truck near their house, but the bloke up the road's doing it. These people that come in and want to do something, this council knocks them back. Now, if they reckon this valley's going so well, which it's not, I'll ask some questions here. And some people can have a think about it, and I might be wrong.
And as you're saying, this is the bread and butter, people's livelihoods.
And I hope I am wrong. Once upon a time in this valley, there were shops everywhere. You could walk into a shop and buy all the stationery you wanted. You could buy newspapers, you could buy A3, A4, big cardboard, pens, papers, the whole box and dice, everything. You could buy shoes, you could buy good dress shoes, you could buy sporting equipment. Now, can you still buy a ring anywhere in town? Can you go in Huonville? Can you buy a watch? Can you get it fixed? No, you can't. Where can you buy a good pair of jeans, a good pair of shoes, a good pair of sand shoes? Where can you buy a football for your kids? We used to have all this stuff. And now we've got nothing. The job of a council and the job of a councillors is to encourage people to come to this area, to visit this area, to shop in this area, to live in this area, raise their families, start a business. And the thing with all those shops that are closed down, they all employ people. It may not be a big lot of people, but it's employing people. All these boutique businesses employ people. Nothing. This council doesn't advertise this area. Does not advertise it one bit. We've got a golf course down at Dover, which is probably the most southern golf course in Australia. It may not be 18 holes, but It's one of the most beautiful little golf courses you've ever had. No advertisement. We've got beautiful areas, Duck Hole Lake. We've got research. We've got Cockle Creek. We've got the Southwest Cape. This council does nothing. Does nothing for the people in this area, and that's the reason why there's so much bloody bullying. And as far as Nick Street goes, with his bullying, let's have a conversation, Nick Street, with your bullying. You sat at our kitchen table. You told us you were going to do this, you were going to do that. We had a meeting in your office in Kingston. And we told you about everything. Lisa had a bit of a breakdown. You told us that you were going to arrange a meeting with Matthew Healy, who was head of Legat. No worries. Let's arrange it. But we said to him, Lisa will not be at that meeting because of Lisa's condition and the way she'll be when she sees him. He understood. He told Lisa, no, we'll let you know when that meeting is so you don't have to go. No worries. We had a meeting in his office. He called us in for a meeting. We thought it was going to be him and his advisor or whatever. We walked into that meeting. There was a lady there that looked like she should be a headmaster in a girls' school. There was another young bloke that looked like he'd just come out of school and his advisor. And a television screen. We sat down, next minute, bang, Matthew Healy's face comes up on the television screen.
Goodness.
Lisa just went into meltdown.
Ambush.
I got her out of there and then went ahead with it. And he ambushed us. He put Lisa in a position where it could have turned nasty. He knew our situation.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not the first time he's done it. I had a phone call from one of his people at his staff, a Vince, his name was. I can't pronounce his second name. He rang me and he went off. He just went berserk. And I had a bit of a breakdown. Lisa grabbed the phone and said, right, I had a chat to him and said, you know what do we have to do to get something? Do I have to go in, grab Matthew Grimsley by the scruff of the neck, by his mullet, and drag him up and down the street on his face? Now, the Lord Mayor come out and said there's 2 people that have been banned from them. Lisa's one of them for this. And I'll read out the paper in a minute. But this Vince, he went off and Nick Street's office was that concerned with what he'd done that Nick Street apologised for his behaviour. But not only that, they rang Mental Health Tasmania to contact me. And they did. I had a great talk with the young bloke there. He was awesome, no kidding. He was awesome, but we agreed that they can't do anything because they're paid by the government, so they're not going to say the government's causing this. There goes their finance. It's an endless circle, and we're stuck on the roundabout.
An endless circle, a vicious circle.
But so come on, Nick Street, you want to talk about mental health, and yet you go out on mental health. What about the mental health you've caused people for the inability of you to do your job? Now, you either sharpen up or you get the hell out, mate, and let someone take your job that has the balls to do the job. Not koto. The bureaucrats didn't put you in. We didn't vote for the bureaucrats. We voted for you to do a job. It's the same as the councillors. We vote for the councillors to do a job. No, they all sit at that meeting like stum mullets and then go into a private meeting.
Exactly.
And they shouldn't be there. You should have your little committee meetings and then your main meeting. Or is the private meeting only where they go and eat food paid for by the ratepayer and drink alcohol by the ratepayer? Perhaps we should have a booze bus set out the front. I don't know. But these are the questions that they leave themselves open to be answered. And there's bullying, Nick Street. I'll sit in front of this radio station again. I'll sit anywhere with you, mate, and put down the information. And you answer it. But you won't. You won't even say anything about the bloke that's running the show, Matthew Grimsley, and about his mental condition. Dean Winter's the same. Just turned his back. Like he turned his back on the people he said won't have a stadium. He turned his back on them too. So come on, let's have a chat about this bullying. And what I'll do is I'll encourage everybody else not to stay quiet, to sit down there, to give this Genevieve Holding a ring at the Mercury and say, how about you write the other side of the story? How about you write the side of the story where it comes from? instead of only one side of the story. So, you know, there's so much more here. Where do we turn?
I know, it's frustrating for you both. It's just...
Well, it's not only for us.
unacceptable.
This is not only about us, Andy.
Yeah.
This is not only about us. This is about the whole bloody community. It's about the people in that illegal subdivision over the road from us who get hounded by council that they have to pay for the road. No, they don't. The developer pays for the road. Or if you're a good friend of the council might do it for you. And it's the same as when you get your rate notice next, which have gone up 7% and shouldn't, have a look on it. If there is a storm water charge, walk out the front. If there's curb and guttering and there's that, fine. If it's just a dirt gutter in the road and the water flows down out into the creek or the bay, tell them to get stuffed. I had a word with the then Mayor Armstrong about it and said, why haven't we got this? And his answer was, we're waiting for the technology. What's different with the technology here to every other bloody joint? It's like the sewerage. Pump gravity. No, it's a scam. They're scamming money off people. I know another person that the council owes money to for a failed building permit. They won't give it back to him. What they've done is they've said, oh, you've got to get this fixed. They changed their mind. You've got to get this fixed. You've got to do that. So they won't give the money back. That's extortion.
Keep going on about it's not compliant, so on and so on, and it costs you more money, and some people get to the stage where they haven't got that money to be able to pay for the fees.
The thing we tell people is, have they handed you out a fine or a show clause notice? And this come up in a council meeting about why they weren't doing what was wrong with their officers. Why aren't they handing out fines and show clause notices? The simple fact of the matter is that if they do, you can appeal it. And they haven't got a leg to stand on. You would kick their ass. So what I say to people is tell them to get stuff, show us the show clause notice or fine us.
Exactly. All right, Nev, we're coming up with a sponsorship, to put up sponsorship in the weather. And, it's to be continued, isn't it, all this?
Well, just before we go to it, mate, I'll read out this email that we got from a person, from a council member now. It has here, regarding your earlier complaints and your conversation before Christmas, this is with her and showing her some of her stuff, I have repeatedly asked the GM to contact you and discuss some sort of mediation. I was also planning to meet with you and 3 other councillors, but the GM and the Mayor made it clear we wouldn't represent council and don't want us to meet you. So basically, they've been told not to. We voted them in to talk to us. The ratepayers own this council, not the bloody councillors or not the management.
Yeah, they've to serve the public.
So when are we going to get rid of them?
Well, you are standing for the next elections.
At this stage, I'm thinking seriously about it. Like I said, I'll have a conversation with some other people who've also...
Yeah.
And we will. And I can tell you one thing now, I won't be sitting on that bloody thing. I won't be signing any non-disclosure form. I don't work for the council. If I get elected, I don't work for the management. I work for the ratepayer. And as soon as a councillor, the management or the GM or the Mayor says don't see that person, the middle finger goes up, I turn around and I'll go straight to meet them. I don't work for you. I wasn't elected by you. I was elected by the ratepayer. And that's what's got to happen now.
Yeah. Look, Nev Boulton, thanks for your time this morning. We're coming up to 11 o'clock. It's 57 minutes past the hour of 10. Come up to the weather and I'll get some sponsorship and community announcements on before 11. But to be continued.
Oh,
and you're
mate,
always
there's so
welcome.
much more here. It's not only about me. Look, the medical centre, there's so much more in it. It's not and anybody. I'll sit with any bugger here.
We'll get on to the next, not the medical centre.
Thanks. That's anyway, if you're still here, if they haven't ambushed Andy and bloody...
Well, I've been ambushed once before. Who knows what's next anyway.
Mate, look, it's got council written all over it. I don't care what anybody says. This has got council written all over it.
Yeah. And so I'd like you to come in next month, and I want to get right the nitty-gritty with the medical centres if you'd like. We'll get right into that.
Mate, I'll come in any time, Andy. Matter of fact, like I've said to you once before, we'll have a radio program if you want where we can interview all these people.
Yep.
But I encourage people now to stand. Not to stop, to stand. And to keep going.
Good on you, Nev. Thank you, Nev. Thanks for your time this morning.
No worries, Andy. Thank you. Mate. And, mate, put a better dress on next time too, please.
Now everybody knows.